If you want to be rich, stop thinking like a poor person. I know so many people that say, man, I just want to be rich. I just want to be wealthy. How do I get there? Well, that's a mentality. You got to really start to understand what that really means. What does rich mean? And matter of fact, what's it mean for you? It means so many different things to so many different people. So rich is, what I think that means is, when are you in a position where you have enough resources at your fingertips where you can really live the life you want? You can do whatever it is that you want. You can work when you want. You can go on vacation when you want. You can do all the things that you possibly could ever want and what you need. Now, here's how we do that. The first thing you need to do is think about, like, what if you won the lottery? This would be a great example. So if you won $1 million today, what would you do with it? And I ask a lot of people like that. Like, I'd ask a child, like, hey, if I gave you money, what would you go do? My daughter would be like, oh, I can't wait to go buy this video game and be able to play and buy little whatever, like these little toys and stuff. Or I would ask a typical person would say, oh, I'd buy a new house and get a car and do all these things. Well, what happens when you get all these things? What happens to the money? Well, it's gone. And that's why most lottery ticket winners are absolutely bankrupt 3 years after getting the lottery winnings. Most professional athletes are 80% bankrupt after their playing career is over only after 3 years because of the mismanagement and not understanding how to deal with this money, as it is a separate business all into itself. So the first thing you need to do is think about is you got to pay yourself first. You are your most significant creditor, okay? So when you make money, you have to pay yourself first. You are the creditor, so pay yourself like another bill. What's the right amount? At least a minimum of 15%. So when you make money, you got to set it aside for yourself. It's so important. So you don't just set it into a checking account either, because anything that goes into your personal checking account, as I know, will find a home. It's funny, and I know you guys all have this number in your head. You have a certain amount of money that's in your checking account, and when it gets below that, you're like, oh my gosh, it's below that number. Well, let's think about it. If it's in the checking account, it gets spent. It always finds a home. So what you want to do is you want to set up a separate account. We call this like an efficient capital management account. It's something when you set money aside, you're putting in this account, and it's for long-term wealth building. So once the money's over there, it's designed for that. So if we're going to save our 15% a month or annualized, figure out what that is for you. So if every paycheck comes in, you take 15% and you set it aside. It's not what you make, it's what you keep. That's the second thing. So it's not about how much you earn, it's about how much you keep. So I'll find these small business owners that'll be developing and growing their business and grow. And then guess what? 10 years goes down the road, and what do they got? They got a business. They don't have anything set aside. So they've been making all this money all along the way. It's being reinvested back in the business or doing whatever. And at the end of the day, they really don't have anything to show for it. They do have a business. It's usually the largest asset. But if there's a financial crisis, if there's a lawsuit or something happens, they don't have anything set aside for themselves to allow them to get out of the jam or to make a strategic investment back into the business to allow things to work for them. So no matter how much money you're making, if you're not setting it aside and if you're not conscious about it, if you're not treating yourself as your most important creditor, you're going to get yourself in a jam. We don't want that. We want you to survive. We want you to be able to thrive. We want you to be able to create other things. And from what I'm understanding and what I'm hearing, you want that even more than I would because it's your life. The third thing, you have to put your money to work early and often. I can't emphasize the importance of compound interest. Warren Buffett says it's like the greatest miracle ever. Because if we don't put our money to work, it's going to erode. It's not going to grow. And especially today, we have so much money being pumped into the system. We have interest rates at very low percentages. What's happening is when our dollars are there, it's becoming worth less and less and less. It's becoming eroded. So actually money that we're setting aside that's not doing anything or working for us is becoming worth less and less and less with inflation as it goes. And that's like the example, like think about what a Coke was back in the 1950s where you get a Coke for like 5 cents and now it's like $2.50 or something crazy like that today. But cost of goods and services are going up, which means those investments we're making should be going up as well if you're making the smart ones. And that compound interest curve is very important. So when you put the money to work, you're putting money to work into cash flow companies that have return on equity. They produce dividends. They are being profitable at a certain level. So if you have a really good evidence-based investment strategy that you can invest early and often into, and you've got your risk profile measured and monitored where you understand what that is, you understand your drawdowns, you understand the confidence of how that money could work over time for you, then you've got an investment policy statement, something that has rules and understanding of how your money is going to work for you. So you have to develop that for yourself. Okay? So compound interest is very important. So if you think about it, if it earns 7%, $1 today is worth $2 in 10 years. In 20, it's worth 4, and then in 30, it's worth 8. So that compound interest curve is real. So if you wait until the last 10 years of when you're going to need it, it's not going to be as high. If you started all the way back here, it's going to be there. So do it early and often. And number 4, know the difference between your assets and liabilities. You got to know your net worth. If you don't know where you are, then how are you going to go? Robert Kiyosaki says this very clearly in Rich Dad Poor Dad. You got to know your balance sheets. You got to know your net worth. You got to know your cash flow. So do you have a tool? Do you have a system? Like we use the Wealth Builder. Our Wealth Builder for Invest is a platform. We pull all the financial data in, and all of our clients have their net worth, assets, liabilities, net worth. At least you have a starting point. You know where it is. We're taking all your financial information, plugging it in, and you got to know the difference. Are we still growing net worth? Even though we may have some liabilities, is our net worth going down or is it going up? So you're trying to track to a common goal. So rich people don't think like poor people. Rich people have goals. Rich people understand the power of compound interest. Rich people understand what they want in life. They have a set of understanding, and that's what they do. So if these 4 things are really important to you, you have to change your mind to change the game. We have to really understand, identify what's important to us. We have to take these 4 critical steps, put them into action, not just talk about them, like actually actionize them to make your life better. So write those 4 things down. Put those into action. If you don't take action within the next day of listening to this video, you won't. So get out your phone, do your little thing, put it all in there. You have it. You're ready to go. This is what I'm going to do. Put it on your action list. I'm going to pay myself first. I am my best creditor, right? I'm going to set up a separate account where I'm going to set money. I'm going to understand what my net worth statement is. I'm going to set these things up. I'm going to get an investment strategy for myself that works. Set those up. Start thinking like a rich person. Change your mind. Understand how money really works. If you need help with that, as always, feel free to reach out. We have our Future Hack book that can help you through how to take the simple solutions to the common problem of living the life you want that can really help you guide through that program. We'll also help you through that in our online classes. And then anytime you want to speak with a financial coach and advisor, we're here for you. And we'll talk soon.